In this video, we're going to have a look at the Microsoft Power BI and Fabric certifications and assessments you can take in 2025. Hello, I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. If you have expertise in Power BI and Fabric, then why not show everybody that by taking a certification or assessment? Then you can put this on your CV or resume. But what are the current certifications and assessments that you can do? Well, first of all, there is no fundamental level. Well, first of all, there's the PL 900 exam. This is all about the Power Platform. So this includes not only Power BI, but also Power Apps, Power Automate, and more. So if we scroll down, you can see that you need to demonstrate the capabilities of Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Pages, the AI authoring experience, for example, AI Builder, together with the business value of the Microsoft Power Platform, together with fundamental components that go around all of these different apps. So it does require some knowledge of Power BI. If I scroll down to the study guide and click on it, then you'll see that the requirements for Power BI are: identify basic Power BI components, so the difference between the desktop and the service. Compare and contrast dashboards, workspaces, reports and paginated reports, and how you can use AI insights, so in other words, certain visuals, to identify anomalies and trends in data. You'll also be needing to build a basic dashboard by adding visualizations to a report, to a dashboard, from the report using Q&A, and how to consume these reports and dashboards. Now, most of the information in the PL 900 is at a demonstrate you know that this is possible, so that it is possible rather than how to do it. If you want to demonstrate your knowledge of using Power BI, then the next exam is the PL 300, Power BI Data Analyst Associate. So this is in 4 main sections: preparing the data, modeling the data, visualizing and analyzing data, and managing and securing Power BI. So again, if we scroll down to the study guide, then we'll see that the first subject, prepare the data, is divided into multiple subsections: get or connect to data, profile and clean the data, and transform and load the data. So basically, this is your knowledge about get and transform, otherwise known as Power Query. Model the data requires design and implement a data model, create model calculations by using DAX, and optimize model performance. So this is mostly about having multiple queries or tables which talk to each other, which connect using relationships, and then expanding the model using calculated columns and calculated measures, especially using the DAX language. Thirdly, we've got visualize and analyze the data. Now, this is where I think most people begin their Power BI journey. So you'll be creating reports and then enhancing them for usability and storytelling. You'll also be identifying patterns and trends. And finally, we go to the Power BI service for Manage and Secure Power BI. We'll be creating and managing workspaces and assets and securing and governing Power BI items. So this is the PL 300, divided into these 4 main sections, each of which takes several hours of study. Now, that's not all for Power BI. If we go to the next exam, which is the DP 600, this is the Fabric Analytics Engineer Associate. Some of it is about Power BI, and some of it is about experiences other than Power BI in Fabric. So if I scroll down, you'll see that there are 3 main sections. There's maintain a data analytics solution, prepare data, and implement and manage semantic models. So this is where your Power BI knowledge comes in and also gets expanded. So if I scroll down again to the study guide, we'll see that in addition to DAX, you also need to have knowledge of SQL and KQL, Kusto Query Language. So we need to understand how to implement security and governance, maintain the analytics development lifecycle, get data, so we're not just talking about Power BI now, we're also talking about Fabric, transform data and query and analyze data, and then we'll go back to the Power BI world for designing and building semantic models, including optimizing enterprise scale semantic models. Now, the DP600 has had a major refresh in November 2024. So in came KQL and out went PySpark. PySpark is now needed in the DP700 Fabric Data Engineer Associate. So while this 600, the Fabric Analytics Engineer Associate, is for both data engineers and data analysts, so it's got one foot in both the Power BI and the rest of the Fabric world, the DP700 is specifically for data engineers. So if I scroll down, you'll see that in addition to SQL and KQL, you also need PySpark. Because we are going away from Power BI in this exam, you don't need knowledge of DAX. So the skills which are measured are implement and manage an analytic solution, ingest and transform data, and monitor and optimize an analytics solution. So again, if I scroll down to the study guide, you'll see that we need to configure Microsoft Fabric workspace settings, implement lifecycle management in Fabric, and configure security and governance. Now, for these last two headings, a lot of these topics were dealt with in the DP600. There is around 30 to 40% overlap between the DP600 and the DP700. We've also got orchestrate processes, which is new to the DP700. For ingest and transform data, we've got design and implement loading patterns, ingest and transform batch data, so this is in the DP600 with respect to SQL and KQL, and ingest and transform streaming data, which is mostly new to the DP700. And then finally, we've got monitor Fabric items, identify and resolve errors, and optimize performance. So a large part of this was in the old DP600, which has been moved into this DP700. Now, you should know that Microsoft is investing heavily in Fabric and is de-emphasizing Microsoft Azure, so much so that their data engineering DP203 exam is being discontinued as of the end of March in favor of this DP700. Now, if the DP600 and DP700 exams sound good to you, but maybe are a bit too big to have a go at first time, then why not have a look at the Microsoft Applied Skills instead? There are 4 Microsoft Applied Skills which are relevant to Fabric, none which are relevant to Power BI. 3 of these applied skills are relevant to the DP700 and the DP600. So to start off with, implement a lakehouse in Microsoft Fabric. So there are 4 tasks that you need. Create a lakehouse, so would start with creating a workspace with a Fabric capacity, creating tables, including managed and external, and create and manage shortcuts to other lakehouse data. Then ingest data, so uploading files using the Lakehouse Explorer, ingest data and schedule data pipelines, data flows, and notebooks. Transform data, so this is about implementing a star schema including type 1 and type 2 slowly changing dimensions, transform columns, shape tables, implement data cleansing, implement file partitioning, and load transform data into a delta table. And finally, perform exploratory analytics, so querying data by using the SQL Analytics endpoint, creating relationships between tables, and analyze data by using the default semantic model. You'll need to be able to use SQL or PySpark. Now, for me, this is a huge Microsoft applied skill. Firstly, you have to learn 2 languages, and there is a lot of detail in these tasks. For example, the slowly changing dimensions. That would take a long time to learn how to implement that by itself. So, if you did want to do this Microsoft applied skill, then know that you'll be doing a lot of the DP600 and 700 requirements in just the one Microsoft applied skill. Next, there is the Microsoft applied skill implement a data warehouse in Microsoft Fabric. Now again, this is a huge Microsoft applied skill. The advantage of this is this requires you to have knowledge of TSQL, and not of PySpark. So first of all, you'll be creating a data warehouse. So again, create a workspace with a Fabric capacity, provision a data warehouse and set any necessary properties. Load data. So you might be loading data using a data pipeline, a data flow, a cross-warehouse query, or the copy command. Next, there is transform data. So you'll be choosing and customizing columns, transforming rows, including filtering and group by, clean data and normalize data. Next, there is model a star schema with fact tables, dimension tables, slowly changing dimensions, and relationships. Query and modify data includes views, stored procedures and functions, and manage security would be granting access by using workspace roles and also configuring object level permissions, dynamic data masking rules, column level security, and row level security. So I think the advantage of these two Microsoft applied skills is that you can take a free assessment on skills which are needed in the DP600 and DP700 exams without actually having to pay for the exam. Then, assuming you pass these Microsoft applied skills, you should feel much more confident when you take the DP600 and DP700 exams. Next is the implement a real-time intelligence solution with Microsoft Fabric, Microsoft applied skill. So this demonstrates your knowledge of the real-time analytics and KQL language. So first of all, prepare a real-time analytics environment. So this would be a KQL database, maybe with lookup tables, with data mirroring in OneLake, and using an event house. So create and load data from external sources. So maybe from a storage account, you might be creating an external table. But of course, you need to make sure that any data sources which are loaded are correctly loaded using various counts, for instance, the number of rows, or maybe filtering it down, or using a group by count. Next, load and process streaming data by using event streams. So you need to connect a streaming dataset to an event stream. You might be loading data directly. You could be configuring event processing, loading the data by using windowing, and send data to a KQL database. Next is exploring data. So you might have an SQL query that you want to convert into KQL. That's fairly simple to do. You might be querying data for min, max, median, and summary statistics, visualizing data by using the render operator, including bar, line, column, and scatter charts, performing row-based calculations, creating relationships between tables, and processing free text data by using the parse operator. And then finally, manipulate data. So this would involve changing data types by using a table variable, group or aggregate data by using the top nested operator, perform data cleansing processes on the data including time series, create an update policy, create a materialized view, and create a user-defined stored function. So this would be useful for the DP600 and the DP700 exam, but for me it goes beyond what is needed for either of those exams. And then finally, we've got the implement a data science and machine learning solution with Microsoft Fabric. So currently there is no Microsoft exam for which this would be useful. It would be a standalone assessment. So firstly, ingesting and loading data again. We start off with a workspace with a Fabric capacity. We create a lakehouse and ingest data into the lakehouse, maybe loading it into a notebook and converting the data to a data frame. Exploring data in the notebook, well, you might be displaying the data frame, running statistics, or building a visualization. Preparing and transforming data, so we're talking about aggregating data, identifying and resolving missing data or removing duplicate data, performing one-hot encoding, or normalizing and scaling data. Then we'll get more into the machine learning side of it. So training and evaluating a model. So split data sets into training, validation, and test sets, and train a model by using scikit-learn or Synapse ML, and evaluate regression and classification metrics for a model. Next, there is track models and experiments. So you would be creating an experiment and using MLflow to track model metrics, parameters, artifacts, and retrieve experiment runs and their metrics. And then finally, generate predictions from a model. After all, that's what a model is for. So you'll be scoring a model by using the predict function, writing model prediction results to the lakehouse, and saving and registering a machine learning model in Microsoft Fabric by using MLflow. So my question to you is, which of these exams or assessments might you want to take in 2025? And how can you prepare for them? Well, on all of these exam pages, if we scroll down, you can see that there is a learning path. Now, the learning path for the DP700 exam is not really complete, and the DP600 learning path is based on the old version of the exam prior to November 2024. So this means that as of the time of recording, you'll still be learning PySpark as opposed to KQL. Now, another way of learning is through video courses, and if that might be useful to you, then please go to our website, idodata.com. So in the Fabric section, you can see that we have got video courses on PL300, Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst. This is our best-selling course. So we take those 4 parts, the Visualize, Get and Transform, Refine, and Power BI service, and we focus on each one in turn. But I start on the visualizations and analysis. So I think people want to learn Power BI for the output, for the visuals, for the reports, for the dashboards. So I concentrate on that first, and then we get and transform data, we refine the model, and then have a look at the Power BI service. Now, it is a big exam and a big course. It's around 28 hours, so there's around 7 hours in each of these parts. Then we've got the DP600, implementing analysis solutions by using Microsoft Fabric. Now you'll notice that it's around 11 hours. But hang on, the PL300 was 28 hours. So how come the DP600 is so much quicker? Well, this course builds on your existing knowledge that you will have gained while studying for the PL300 exam. So that way we don't go through yet again the get and transform. We don't go through creating DAX expressions. We don't go through the Power BI service. I assume you have got all of that. So in essence, this comes in 3 parts, which I personally would call part 5 of the PL300 expanded, and then 2 parts on Fabric. So we start off with the advanced Power BI desktop, and then go into lakehouses, warehouses, and SQL, and then event houses and KQL. And you can see from one of my most recent reviews, it includes all the topics of the updated DP600 exam. And then finally, there's the DP700 course, and again, this builds on your knowledge of the DP600 exam. So I assume you know all about lakehouses, warehouses, and SQL, event houses, and KQL. So this means I can focus on PySpark and other additional activities that you need for the DP700. So for more information on any of these courses, please go to our website, idodata.com, and click on Microsoft Fabric. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and you're now clearer as to which exams you can do. You start off with the PL900, and then go to the PL300 to continue your Power BI journey. Then you can extend it with the DP600, and this takes you into Fabric as well, which you can extend with the DP700. And in addition, there are Microsoft Applied Skills for Fabric. Which exams or Microsoft Applied Skills might you be doing in 2025? Please let me know in the comments to this video. And if you like this video, then please click on the like to this video, and why not subscribe and click that bell? That way you'll be notified of any new videos. Do you want to learn about other parts of the Power Platform? If so, I've got a video about the Power Platform certifications in 2025. Why not click on it on the end screen? I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. Thanks for watching and keep learning.